Yeah, we are live now. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good evening, fellow IITians. Welcome to this event on building a career in data science. My name is Naman Narula, and I'll be co-hosting this event with my colleague Dipesh, who is the Deputy Secretary of Kana House. And we are all thrilled to have you here today. For our speaker for today is none other than Param Awasthi. He's a distinguished data scientist at Meta, which is formerly known as Facebook. He's a alumnus of both IIT Delhi and Columbia University, making him one of the brightest minds in this field. And he will be sharing insights on his role as a data scientist and also shed some light on building a successful career in this field. So without any further ado, let's greet Param Awasthi. Over to you, Param.
Hi, Naman. Thank you for giving such a wonderful description. Uh, uh, and it's nice to see everyone. And I'm grateful to have this opportunity to speak to the IITians of Madras. So it's nice. And yeah, I'll start with a presentation. And whenever you have any questions, feel free to ask me. At the end, we'll have a Q&A as well. So and don't hesitate in asking me. And so just let me know if everyone can see my screen.
Yeah, it's visible.
Visible. Yeah. Okay, nice. So I'll just start with giving a brief introduction about me. So I was born and brought up in Agra. You might have heard of the city of Taj Mahal. Then I completed my bachelor's in civil engineering from IIT Delhi. After that, I worked in India for around 3 years. Most of them were at Ola Cabs, where I was working as a senior analyst. I was campus placed into Ola Cabs, and I was working there. And then I went to Columbia for my master's in business analytics. And I have been working in Meta since 2022, and I've been in New York since 2018. So, and this has been my professional journey over the years. Like a brief summary, I graduated in civil engineering. Then I went into analytics into Ola Cabs. We'll talk about it later as well, like how I got into Ola Cabs. And then I went to Columbia to pursue my master's in business analytics. Then I worked in consulting here at EXL. And then I am currently working as a data scientist at Meta. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so let's talk about how I transitioned into analytics from my civil engineering career. I hope, yeah, every one of you here are into data, like already in data science, right? Yeah, so I think this part is easier for you. So, but yeah, if anybody else is joining, they can have a look into this and learn and see if they can do similar things. So I realized into like second year of my engineering that there are far more opportunities in the private sector in analytics and software engineering than my core branch of civil engineering. Then I started learning. So there were some optional credits at IIT Delhi. I'm not sure how it is working nowadays in IIT. I think So I took Python courses and econometric methods in my optional coursework. I liked it. I thought maybe I can, if I have the opportunity to work on these things in the career, it would be great. Then I just say, then there was when there was a job season or placement season, I realized that I should target one kind of jobs. So what I did was like I researched like what kind of jobs normally come to the campus. At my time, it was mainly so it was like either I can go into core civil engineering jobs. There were very few options. Then there was like software engineering jobs as well. With there were a lot of options, but there were a lot of people who had studied like the full courses on software engineering. So maybe I won't get a chance in the campus placement in competing with the CS students. And then I realized there are consulting jobs and there are basically analytics job. So I targeted that this analytics job seems to be very like can be my focus, and I can prepare for that. And I started researching on like how to get into those companies and what do they ask actually. So when I researched about that, I realized that what they're asking is normally quantitative aptitudes skills, and there were some case questions. So accordingly, I prepared for that, and luckily I got into Ola Cabs as an analyst. When I got there, again, the job required me to learn a few things, and then there I learned advanced Excel. Like I knew a bit of Excel. I learned advanced Excel, SQL, and basically I touched upon R as well. So this was my journey. Like when I started my career uh, into analytics. Then after working there, I realized that I like the field. I realized that I need to go more into the field. So like I try to research like what are the options available for going into data science analytics. There were some courses at that time in India, but there were not many good courses at that time in India. So I decided that I may have to go abroad or apply to other universities in US. So I applied to few universities in US, and luckily again applied to few universities in US. The application process is again maybe you have knowledge or you may not have knowledge, but like there is a full application process that involved at my time was ZRE and letter of recommendations and my personal SOP. I prepared for that, and I prepared for that using the people, my colleagues, who were actually studying at universities in US, getting help from them, and who know what kind of things should go into LORs and research. I also researched about that online, write my SOPs, and ask for recommendations from my professors and my past managers. And luckily, I got into Columbia, came here in 2018 for my course that was MS in Business Analytics. It was like 1.5 year course. I I finished my course. Like I learned basically what I learned there was all the academic knowledge regarding machine learning, uh, what do you say, data analytics, data science, statistics, probability, all the advanced knowledge, academic knowledge I got at Columbia. And then I again started working in consulting. Then let me talk to you about transitioning into a product DS or like working at Meta. So like what I realized that I had some of the knowledge. So I had the knowledge that is required to basically work at Meta or crack the interview. The academic knowledge was there for me, but I was lacking some skills. So I worked in the direction of developing those skills. So let's say in terms of academic knowledge, what it is required for working at Meta or cracking the interview is like you need to know about statistics. Statistics is basically A/B testing statistics, that is like involving z-test, t-test, or chi-square test. If you like, guys, I hope you guys have heard of that, right? Yeah, because you are learning about data science. So these kind of things, probability and machine learning algorithms. So these are the academic knowledge that was required. Apart from that, I developed some while I was working in consulting, I developed some predictive modeling skills as well, in like using predictive modeling, working in Python. And I also got some practical skills like data analysis, how to basically use data to get the insights. And for the company, mostly using I'm just mentioning my the tools that I'm been using, that are like SQL and Excel. So most of the time in my job I use these three tools: Python, SQL, and Excel. And it has worked good for me till now. Yeah, so then I realized when I was preparing, like trying to take the next step, going into a product company, I was not only targeting Meta, I was targeting similar product companies like, okay, so I was targeting similar product companies like Google, here it is Robinhood, uh, there was a Coinbase and other companies that you have, Klarna, PayPal, and all these companies. I I targeted all these companies and see, okay, and then I realized, let's find the common thing that is being asked in the interview. What are the common things that are being asked in the interview? How I researched about basically what are the okay, yeah. So I researched about what are the things that are being asked in the interview, and I tried to understand like what are the skills that I already have and what are the skills that I need to develop to crack those interviews. So then I realized, like from my experience, that what I realized that there was some skills that I was lacking and I need to develop more, is like applying my statistical knowledge for product data science. That is mainly hypothesis testing, A/B testing, using causal inference analysis. So that skill I need to develop. So for developing it, again, I use some techniques that I'll talk about later on. The other thing that I needed to develop was basically building a product sense. So product sense is actually what you call is to think in terms of the product, how your product work, how you can improve your product, how you can data to improve your product, how basically even if you change a feature, how you can test it, how you can improve it, how you can check if this thing is working or not working, how you can check if basically if something is going wrong. So building this kind of product sense may require some kind of learning and researching about that. So yeah, so again, how did I prepare to become a product DS? First of all, the main, like I think I'll talk about. So the toughest thing for me, or I'm not sure, for me was basically identifying the domain of the specialization. So what normally, as the field of data science is developing, what's happening is for me is what was happening for me is like I was trying to understand like what are the different domain of expertise it is developing into. So one of them is product data science. There are other fields as well. Basically, what you can say, the other fields are going into machine learning algorithm building, going into generic data science predictive modeling, going into analytics only, like doing some analysis, not going into the A/B testing sphere. So these are all the fields that are available. More advanced field, you can say large language models, computer vision, and all those things. So first step is like choosing the expertise, basically the domain expertise. The second thing is, again, when you choose the domain expertise, you want to do a skill research. The skill research is researching about the necessary interview and job skills, using platforms like Google, Blind, YouTube, and other past interview questions and experience. This basically involves understanding understanding what you are lacking and what you have and what you don't have. So you guys also might have been learning about Python, SQL, and statistics in your courses. But when you will do a skill research about the job you want to do, maybe it's a product DS, maybe you want to do computer vision or large language models. You want to understand like what are the skills that I need to develop for basically cracking the interview and doing that job. So for that, I used like past interview questions. You can see it on Glassdoor. There's a platform called Blind. I hope, is it common? Is it also common in India as well? Blind. Okay. So there's one platform, Blind, that is very common here. Where people ask questions. That is anonymous LinkedIn kind of thing. I also researched on YouTube regarding past interview questions, and what do you say? There are several lectures on YouTube about how to prepare for everything. So those things are very helpful. So and asking the people who are actually working at those companies, if they are friends, then very good. Like what kind of skills do they use on a daily basis, and what kind of things that are asked in the interview. Then again, when you know things like there are 5 things required, I know 3 of them, I need to acquire the rest 2 skills. I realize that I need to let's say I need to acquire product sense skill. Then what I did is I researched on the material, like where I should go to acquire those skills. So the best thing that I find is YouTube. So there are multiple good channels on YouTube where you can like learn about anything and everything. I basically watch videos on those channels, learned about things, prepared, watched videos multiple times, prepared my notes, tried to understand each and every case, like what kind of cases are being asked in the interviews for the product sense, how I how to start thinking about that, and how to start thinking about that. Watch some other channels, as watched multiple YouTube channels. There are multiple good YouTube channels, and see like what are the extensive, like do an extensive research and do an extensive build. So there are some frameworks that are required for each for cracking the product sense interviews. Researched about each framework, like there are 4 or 5 frameworks that are required. I researched about each 4 or 5 frameworks, and then like watched multiple videos for each framework, tried to form my my analysis on that, try to form my notes on that, so that I am getting, basically I am also like forming my view and understanding like what's happening, not actually just like rotting things down my throat. So like try to form your opinion on everything, and basically learn those skills that are required to crack the interview. Then again, the other thing that can come is very important thing, like resume enhancement. You will want to put the skills that are required for the job, and you can find those skills. The best place to find those skills are the job descriptions, and you will like to, and the past interview questions, and you will like to put those skills on your resume, and you will like to use the keywords that are there in the job descriptions on your resume. This is a very important point. I cannot basically, what I say, I cannot stress it on it more. If you are applying like to a good company, and you want to get an interview, do your research, go through the job description multiple times, try to identify the keywords, and try to see if you can place those keywords in your resume. It will help you getting the interview. Getting the interview is like half thing done, because cracking the interview, if you are doing your research and you are acquiring those skills, will be easier. Then again, interview practice. You can do mock interviews. If you all friends are preparing, it's a good time. You can actually do mock interviews with your friends who are preparing for similar things, or if you can, if you have some seniors who are already working in that field, and if they agree to prepare with you, that is also helpful. But do conduct some interview practices. The other thing I want to stress upon is like I applied to multiple jobs, like multiple jobs, and I have interviewed at multiple places. You don't like, after 1 or 2 rejections, you should not feel dejected. You should just identify what are the things that went wrong and try to correct those things in the next interview. There may be some instances where actually nothing went wrong, but you were at the wrong place at the wrong time, because maybe they have already identified the candidate and they're moving forward with it. In current scenarios, maybe their position is closed, something like that. So don't feel dejected, keep preparing. And if you have done a good research, and if you have acquired those skills to a good extent, I'm sure that you will be at the right place, and you will be placed at a very good company. Uh, Yeah. Yeah. So again, let's talk about the skills that are required for. Let's talk about the skills that are actually required for getting into a product DS role at Meta or like everywhere. You need to have some coding skills. That is basic. I believe that you all are learning very good on that. You need to have coding skills in Python, and I cannot stress less on the coding skills in SQL. I would say you should be very, very proficient in SQL. You should know everything until like complex window functions. That is very much required. You should practice it. Like, don't leave SQL by chance. I have missed opportunities because of that. So I just say like learn SQL extensively, advanced SQL, window functions, group joins, whatever you can think of, practice them, and be very proficient, because in most of the product companies, out of 4 rounds, 1 round is fully on SQL. The other thing is machine learning skills. Again, you should know algorithms, the machine learning algorithms, and you should actually know you should know the math behind it, the machine learning algorithms and the statistics. And I think you guys like have that advantage, because I think you may be learning already those things in your courses. Learn like how to tweak an XGBoost model, how to tweak a random forest model, like how does a random forest is different from an XGBoost, like these kind of questions. And other thing is like for the predictive modeling that like I want to stress is you should be able to, for the interviews, that is a very practical thing. You should be able to actually identify, it sounds very simple, identify the independent and dependent variables for your machine learning case interview. So the machine learning case interview goes like you need to first identify your dependent variable, and then like how would you measure the dependent variable, and why we should be measuring the dependent variable in that way, and then identify independent variable in such a way that you are not actually doing any data leakage. That is your machine learning case interview in a nutshell. The other thing, like the algorithm you use, be it XGBoost, random forest, or some deep learning algorithm, that is not basically the point of contention, or that is not the interviewer is testing for. Interview is testing for if you are able to basically solve a case, clearly identifying your dependent variable and your independent variables. And if you're choosing a dependent variable, why you are choosing it, how will you get that data? Once you have done that, you can actually put any of those algorithms. Like you can also use linear regression, very not common these days, and whatever is your errors, MSE, you can tell them. I think nobody will care about that. The other thing is, the other thing is experimental design using A/B testing. So, like Naman or Deepesh, can you guys tell me Are you guys learning that in your course right now?
Not, I mean, for me, not right now. I mean, I know A/B testing because I'm working in the product department with a company, but it's not that we study A/B testing or stuff, that, is into the business side of things in
Yeah.
our course currently.
Oh, yeah. So I hope that they teach you at a later stage at IIT Madras.
Yeah, maybe like
Otherwise,
third or fourth year.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, third or fourth year, I hope they do it and try to learn from that. Otherwise, there are good YouTube channels. You can go and learn about A/B testing. That is a very growing skill. Like that is a very growing kind of question that that is being asked in the interviews, and you should know how to apply your statistics such that you are able to use A/B testing to test your product.
Mhm.
I'll talk about that later on, like what is the purpose of doing an A/B testing and why do we do that. So that is one thing, and again, the most important thing is the product acumen. You have all those skills. You have like your coding skills, you have your machine learning skills, you have your A/B testing skills, you know all that. But how would you combine all those things and your analytical thinking to actually do something that actually enhances the value of the product, improves the user experience of the product? So maybe I'll try to keep it simple, but if you guys don't understand, so a product for me can be anything like a Facebook and Instagram, uh, Amazon, Flipkart, anything is a product. So, uh, and we try to improve that product like an app. You can say the Amazon app is a product, and we try to improve that product in a very, very smaller ways, and those smaller ways combine to get like billions of dollars for the company. The data science job outlook, again, I'm not an expert. I'm not a data science job expert. So I got this data from, I just telling you a truth. I got this data from some website. I hope things look good. And so right now, so let me tell you, right now the market is not very great. You all know. So that means that every kind of job is going down. Currently, even the software engineering openings are very. Oh yeah, I have the people. Okay, I read the chat later. Sorry.
Yeah, we.
Yeah. So yeah. So every kind of jobs are going down. Even the software engineering jobs are going down. So definitely, data scientist jobs are also going down. Apart from that, when the market picks up, data science jobs will also pick up. So we don't need to care much about that. So don't worry about that, and like don't worry about that. And uh, if you are learning good, and if you are technically sound, and if you understand what the industry requires, you would be good. There's no dearth of jobs for basically talented people. That's what talented people means, like nothing inherent, just like who understand what are the skills required for the job and who actually acquire those skills. So it's a simple phenomena for everything that is required. Even if you want to learn about computer vision, large language models, just try to understand what are the skills required to get that job, and try not to get your inherent bias affecting anything, and learn about those skills, and learn those skills, and you should be good most of the times. Oh, again, let's see what does a product DS do. I'm not able to actually do you know why it's happening? So when I come to the Zoom call, I'm not able to share. I'm not able to see my shared screen. It's
It's visible for us.
That is
I can
visible.
see the presentation.
yeah, it's visible for you guys, but like I have to go, I have to go to fully to uh, fully to that tab, basically.
Are you like
Okay,
in a browser?
yeah, I'm using the browser.
Maybe that's the thing. If you don't have
Okay, yeah, maybe.
it
Yeah,
installed.
yeah, maybe. Okay, that's fine. Okay, yeah. So this is what I'm talking about is what are the generic scenarios that I deal with as a product DS, and I have excluded all the technical things because I believe you already know that. I'm just mostly focusing on what do you say, cases, product cases that we normally see in our daily lives and what are like half of the interview process. So yeah, let's talk about the interview process first. So at Meta, the interview process is 6 rounds, but let's not get too overwhelmed by that. So 6 round is first round is by the recruiter, initial screening. Then that is a 15 minutes round. That is not in general cases, that is not very tough. You should just know what you're applying for, and you should have basic knowledge, like you should know basic things like SQL, and they may ask you some questions on SQL or some like very generic product questions. That's it. That's it. The other round is a 1 hour screening round. The 1 hour screening round is combined of one SQL question and one product case question. The SQL question, again, may require you to use join, grouping, window functions, all crazy stuff. Apart from that, the SQL questions also require you to think. So it may not be very, what do you say, very simple that you have two tables and you have to combine those two tables and just tell them what the result is. You have to explain to the interviewer like why you are combining these two tables, if you're transforming any variable, why you are doing that, and why what you're doing would help you achieve what you want to achieve. So, and it may get tricky. You will get proficient in that once you basically practice that. The only way to do it, like practice more, and if you have practice like 100 SQL questions, you will be good. The other thing is the product sense. The product sense was what I will be talking about in the rest of this session. Maybe that can be understanding your user funnel, understanding how to launch A/B testing, or any other thing. So, or like diagnosing an issue. There are like 4 or 5 scenarios you may get. That is basically a framework that is being used. There are like 4 or 5 frameworks that are being extensively asked by each of the product, like every product company. So and again for that we need to basically practice more and understand those skills. So the first thing that is very important is understanding the user funnel. So this is basically, let's say, on the right, what I'm saying, that is a e-commerce user journey. let's say a scenario is that identifying, this is a very simplified thing, but broad level that may make sense. Identifying the customer attrition points in the Amazon's product purchase journey. I'll say, so first, the first thing for you as a data scientist to understand how the product purchase journey would look like, and what are the things that you would actually mark as a step. So the user journey will look like, will be very messy. I can just say, okay, like on, even you can imagine on, you can basically assume on Amazon, you can search something, you can search another thing, and then you can view a product, then you can view another product, and you can view another product, and then you can come on later on, and then you can add that to the cart, you can subtract that from the cart, and you can add that again to the cart. So it will be like, so if you just see the timeline, it will be like for each user, there will be like 100 steps or 100 kind of things that the person is doing. But you need to simplify that to understand what's happening. So let's say, so as a data scientist, what we will normally do is like, let's say I'll just divide that into 5 stages. A person visits on a broader level, then 80 of the 100% visit the site, 80 of them actually views the product, 60 of them adds something to cart, 35 of them enter the checkout phase, and only 15 of them purchases the product. Now I want to analyze like what is the best intervention that I can do, like what is the lowest hanging fruit, what efficiency I can increase so that more people purchase the product. So you need to understand. So like the first, let's say the first thing, from 100 to 80, you are losing 20% of the people. From 80 to 60, you are losing 25% of the people. From 60 to 35, again you are losing 40% of the people. Again from 35 to 15, you are again losing like 60% of the people. So where the question may be, where, like, if we want to focus on one step, what step we should focus on. So again, in this, there can be different things that can be done, but less for this scenario. Let's say what we can do is like simplified things. What intervention will bring in more purchase? So if I change something at the checkout, maybe if I can stop 60% of the people going away, I will be directly impacting my purchase. So as a general rule, like everything on the lower level of the funnel, if a lower level of the funnel is impacted, then basically we drive more conversion. What you purchase a conversion, we drive more conversion. I'll just okay. So for the time's sake, I'll just not explain too much. Feel free to basically just type this on the YouTube, and there are many good lectures with people who are very experienced. You can do that. The second thing is basically understanding the right metric. Let's say I have a broader question: are users happy about their experience with my product? The first thing is come to my mind is, what does it mean by happiness? So I define what I say. Happiness means users find the app helpful, fun, and easy to use. Okay. Again, like that is fine, but how would I say they are finding it happy, helpful, fun, and easy to use? Then I have to see what are the signals that tells me that. That is, the signals that tells me that is good feedback. Good feedback is basically the review of your app, perceived ease of use. That may be that may be because of the survey results. Recommended the app, like if I recommend, let's say I'm using one app and I recommend Naman or Dipesh or Aditya, okay, and everyone else to use that app, you can say, okay, if I'm recommending everyone, so that means that app is a good app. If I'm not recommending everyone, then that is a bad app. So these are the signals that we use for capturing each signal. We basically need to understand what metrics we should use. So for that, like again, for feedback, we can use as ratings of the app. For ease of use, we can use survey results. For recommendation of the app, we can use net promoter score. Again, net promoter score is a metrics that is defined using basically people who prefer your app and people who don't prefer, who dislike your app. So the thing, this is the product, the case is product launch and improvement. This is a typical A/B testing scenario. Why do we use an A/B test? Like, let's talk. So why do you use an A/B test? So let's say I am working at Amazon. I find out that, okay, so we realize that, okay, checkout to purchase, we are losing a lot of customers. I come out with an idea, okay, this checkout thing, like if I change my checkout in this way, it will increase my purchase by 20%. I have a very high intuition that it will do that, but and actually product managers will like come up with these type of things like daily in your life, and you have to tell them, okay, let's stop, don't do that. We don't know if it will increase it by 20% or not, and they'll say, okay, I've tested it, like I've asked 200 people and they say, okay, I'll do that and use that, and this is something like that. Okay, we'll say, okay, if you have that thing, okay, let's first start testing it on users. So you cannot, as a data scientist, you don't trust anything apart from data, and you certainly don't trust your product managers or sales team, because they will always be saying, okay, this thing is working best in the world, and this will do anything and everything it can. So what you will do, basically, if a feature change is recommended, you will test that feature. So you won't, so let's say if 100 people are visiting my site, and let's say 100 people are entering checkout, because my feature work at checkout, 100 people are entering checkout, I won't be showing it to all the 100 people. I'll start showing it to only 20 people. Because the thing is that what can happen is, like, one thing, there can be a bug. If we implement it, there can be a bug, and actually it can prevent users from checking out, and your product managers can be wrong. It can actually result in a worse performance. So you won't be doing that. So you won't like to do that. So what you will be doing is, you will be setting up an A/B test experiment. So basically, you will be showing 80% of people will still be shown your previous version, 20 people will be shown a new version. And when you analyze your results for those 20% people, again, you will check if anything is not going wrong for 20% of those people. Then you will slowly ramp up to around 50%. That is a normal case. And and after 50%, you basically, before running the experiment, you decide like what will be the timeline that I will be running the experiment. There are like a lot of there are a lot of details and technical stuff related to how do we separate the audience, what is the timeline, power analysis, and all. I cannot go into detail of all those things. So when you realize that when you are running those for 50% and you run it to an optimal time, then you check if changing that feature makes sense. If it is, so let's say I will change that feature if it is resulting in a 5% increase in my checkout, not less than that. But you see there is a 3% increase, then you can say there's no point because in the changing the feature, because it will involve more cost in changing that rather than or you get an non-significant results. Basically, you still don't know if it is working or not, then you may not recommend changing it. So all these things. So A/B testing is basically if you launch a product, or if you basically change some features, you want to do an improvement, your feature should be able to withstand the test so that it is showing some improvement in the user experience, so that we don't what do you say, like we don't haphazardly actually launch a feature and it may result later on, it may result in a bad experience for our users. The again the other thing is diagnosing a temporary issue, what I call as an ad hoc analysis. Let's say I find out ETA of Ola or Uber rides is going up by 3 minutes. How would you investigate the problem? So the steps involved are very. So the thing is that all the steps involved are very intuitive, but you have to have a structure, so you are not going back and forth. So you should basically start by asking what is an ETA. The first question is what is an ETA. I can think of one thing as an ETA. You can think of other thing as an ETA. Once you establish that, then you go into details like if this is a temporary change or if this is happening, if this has increased, like the increase over time, or it has just suddenly like on Sunday it was 10 minutes and on Monday it is 13 minutes. So is it something like that? And when you establish that, you will actually go into like see if there is a segment that is more impacted or less impacted. If you find a segment that is more impacted, then you can actually deep dive into that, like what is happening to that segment. If there's something an app issue or driver issue, if I find out that this thing is happening, let's say in New York, Manhattan area, I can try to understand if there is a change, if there is a driver availability change in that area. So yeah, so basically just this is just a structure to solve that problem, so that you don't go back and forth, and like you will learn that structure when you practice more and more about that. Yeah, so that is my presentation. I think uh, anyone have any questions? I see a lot of questions on chat. I see a lot of things on chat. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So we will ask them. So thank you, Param, for enlightening talks. It's incredible to hear about your experience and learning. Now it's time for the audience to participate. We have questions from students, but we will ask few questions that was the frequent from many students that we have collected. The first question was from Naman itself. Naman, you can ask directly to Param.
Yeah. So, Param, could you like give some insights on the tools and technologies that you use at Meta? Like you mentioned about funnels. So maybe what kind of tools you use to track those funnels? Maybe like it's CleverTab, and maybe some data visualization tools like Metabase or something.
So basically, yeah, for the funnel, like what we use is SQL and Tableau dashboards for tracking the funnel.
Okay.
So, and apart from that, maybe like I'll use Python as well, but that is not for funnel, but that's for doing an A/B testing experiment and doing all type of analysis for that. So the technologies, in terms of technologies, I think for everyone hearing, just focus on Python, SQL, and Excel. You will be good. If there is anything that is very company specific, you are not required to know that previously. In terms of technology, you are not required. Everyone is aware that if it is company specific, nobody would know that. So just so basically, like in terms of technology, Python, SQL, and Excel is like sufficient.
Got it.
Okay. So the second question was, sure.
Yeah, if somebody want to ask directly, they can just ask me.
No, I'm not asking from the chat. I've
Okay.
collected some questions from the audience.
Okay,
only.
okay, yes.
We will come to them later. First, we complete this question. So the second question was, what are some of the most exciting projects you have worked on Meta, and how have they contributed to company growth?
Oh, nice. So yeah, Very good question. I wanted to cover that on my slides as well. I think we went over time. Uh, so I was I worked in the Meta business group. So what do you guys think the business of Meta is? How do we get money?
Advertisements.
So yeah, so sure, yeah, everybody knows that now. So yeah, so what the Meta Business Group do is basically sell advertisement to advertisers. So for selling those advertisement to advertisers, we have sales agent. So for sales agent to connect with the advertisers, so sales agent, like what they do is sell ads. They advise like what type of audience you should target, what type of product advertisement. We have multiple advertisement, product we should use. So for that, we used to connect those advertisers with agents on the phone call. We realized that in the pandemic, we realized that, okay, that might not be best case for everyone. Advertisers might want to connect with the sales agent, maybe on chat as well. So we launched a chat product. My task was basically to see the launch. I was dealing with the sales team, product managers. Okay, chat is the best thing ever, and it will like give us billions of dollars. I like, okay, stop. Let's check that. So what I did is, so chat was again launched as an A/B testing experiment. So 50% of people. So let's say 50% of people who was willing to talk to our agents will see only a phone call option. 50% will see a phone or a chat call option. Then what we will try to understand is like the 50% of people who are seeing both the options. The ultimate goal for us is, are they giving us any more revenue? So that was, and the other thing is like as a guardrail, what we used to check is how our chat funnel is proceeding. So chat funnel in the sense like once a person starts chat until we sell them something, how the funnel looks like, and we compare that to our phone funnel, and understanding if let's say if there is a very much difference from the phone funnel. Also, we are not giving them a bad experience when they're talking on chat. So that is what we were monitoring. So after like 6 months of testing, we realized that, okay, yeah, chat is bringing us more revenue. It was 3% incremental revenue, and 3% is like a lot in terms of Meta. So that launch was successful, and everyone was happy about it.
Okay. So we will move to our next question. So the next question is, data privacy and security are critical concern in today's digital landscape. So how does Meta approaches these challenges in the context of data science and analytics? Yes.
Oh yeah, so again, a very good question, because I am right now working on the privacy team. Uh, so we have a like anything, don't quote me out of anything. We have a very it may be a question that is best answered by the privacy spokesperson, but we have a very extensive privacy team. No company wants to, like as in general, no company wants any data to be leaked, because it is a big concern for them, and it is a big loss for everyone, like maybe it's Meta, Google, something. But when what happens normally, like I'm not quoting any example from Meta or Google or anything, what happens normally is like what I've seen in the industry. What happens is when you're doing some small changes on your product, sometimes some things gets overlooked, and that results in slight data changes. And a very big company, what will happen is like there are thousands of changes happening daily basis. some things like sometimes some things gets overlooked and that like balloon into a big thing. But Meta, for what I have seen, has a very extensive and strict process for data, following the data privacy laws, strictest laws, like also the GDPR, the European laws, and the US laws and Indian laws. Nobody wants to actually so it's a problem. Like Meta pays billions of dollars for that, uh, and it's a shared problem, not as in Meta wants the data to be leaked.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we are allowing students to ask directly by
Mhm,
raising their hands, and we will call out their names to ask, and they will unmute themselves, and they can ask their question. So,
Yeah.
Naveen, you can ask your question.
Am I audible?
Yeah,
Hello.
yeah, you are audible. Yeah, you are audible.
First of all, I would like to thank you, ma'am, sir, for taking such an insightful session at today. One question stem up from my conversation with my friend yesterday. He told me that he was facing a problem in whether he should work in a company to showcase a position in his resume as he pass out from the degree, or should he work to build up his skills and make some projects. My personal advice was to work on gaining skills and getting a variety of projects to showcase his capability rather than working on some position in his college. So that will be beneficial. But in your opinion, what would be the best approach? Should one apply in for a startup or something in their college phase to showcase in resume that I have worked at this position, or should one focus to enhance their skill and showcase their variety of projects?
Yeah, so like it is again, yeah, it's a trade-off. Practical skills in a startup or anywhere is always very valued, and again, the academic skills you want to gain learning from your courses are again very much valued. I'll just say that try to so but try to gain skills in a startup, and also work on so if you are actually working in a startup, that does not take away, you can still have time to learn the academic skills as well, right?
Yeah, but my friend
So
told me that
your
he
voice is breaking.
So I was saying that as I was conversing with my friend, he told me that he was working in his college startup, but what he was doing was wasting most of his time in meetings rather than simply acquiring some skills that he may.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. So that is very. So again, I have. So that depends on what the person wants to do. If he wants to basically do a startup, this is not. So I am not an expert on that. I won't guide him in any way. If he wants to become a DS in a company, I can just say he can just I will not suggest him. I'll just say, okay, if you want to work as a DS at a company, acquire those skills. Either that can be working as an internship or your academic knowledge. Gaining those skills, you have to gain those skills, and practical skills are also required, and academic skills are also required. You just need to gain those skills. So for the startup, I'll just say, okay, I'm not sure what we should do.
And I have the last, as you said, that we must acquire the skills that we are going to apply for job, right?
Yeah,
So on
yeah.
that, suppose if a job description includes 10 skills, so in your opinion, what we should go, either we should become average in all 10 of the skills, or one should become perfect in 5 or 6 or probably 7 of them, because I don't think anyone could become expert in all. So what would be a better
Yeah,
approach
yeah.
to showcase?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So for job description is a very good place to start with. If you have, so the best thing is if you have, like, if you know what are the past interview questions for that job, and what are the past interview rounds for that job, master those 5 rounds, and you can think about other things while you can learn other things while on the job. So don't worry about that. Okay.
Even if out of
Yeah,
10 we master 6 skills, it's plenty.
it's not like what skills. It depends on what skills you are mastering. Master the skills that are required to crack the interview.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So
Thanks,
now,
Naveen. Thank you, Naveen.
now Brijesh, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes, thank you, organizers, for that. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for this session. I think your presentation was really amazing. You incorporated those tests that we did in the stat 2 part. So thank you for that also. And so my question is, so for a few weeks, I'm started my working on my project. So I was thinking of incorporating these tests that I learned in stat 2 part in one of the subject that we are doing in this degree. Like Z test that you talked about, A/B test. We did, by the way, we did A/B test in stats 2. So can you
Nice.
guide me on that? How should I proceed with this? I want to incorporate the test in one of the project, and
Okay.
what an industrial will be looking, if he looking at this project, what he will be looking at, I mean, without test and with test. So
Like I would need to know more about your project. If
okay,
even like even if it require an A/B test or not, and just like
let
and if it can be, yeah, just explain it in like a short.
no.
I'll just try to
So
answer it.
I'm not started yet. So let us take
Okay.
any example that is available on Kaggle, and then a business analytic project, and then maybe they have not done any test on that, and I when I do test on that, what kind of, like, I should not ask that, what kind of, how many tests should I do on that project, and what kind of project I should go for if
So
if I
how
want to
many
go to
tests?
the
I'm
PE.
not sure. I'm not sure how many tests. What does that mean?
Okay, so just guide me on what should I do if I want to apply
So
for a position of business analyst. What kind of project should I do?
yeah, so for business analyst, like, do you see A/B testing skills required? It can be or can not be the case, right? If that is required,
Oh,
yeah. So if that is required, just do from Kaggle if it is available. Understand like what is being done for A/B testing, and do try to understand how they evaluate the metrics. So you cannot run a test anyways. So how to evaluate everything, how to do power analysis, how to interpret the results, and how to basically calculate the results and how to interpret those results. These are the best thing that you can do. And how to do a power analysis. These are the things I should focus on. And if you are applying to a graduate position that does not require any experience, you are not required to run any test. Just you should know what an A/B test is, and you should be very A/B test is how would you conduct that, and very you should be just good at the statistics of A/B test.
Got
Thank
it.
you,
Got
Brijesh.
it. Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
Okay, Brijesh. Now, Pritam, you can unmute yourself and ask your question.
So, hi, I'm Pritham, and currently I'm pursuing BS at IIT. And my question, like, I have got two questions. First question is regarding product. So, like, it's pretty hard to get into product for a fresher. So, do you need any prior experience, like as a data scientist or ML engineer, to get into product? And what would you recommend to a fresher who want to get into product as a product ML or in product data science?
Yeah. So like I've seen the US market. So normally in the US market, there are some graduate positions where you don't have to have experience. You just need to have the required technical knowledge. And you can get into and you can get the interview and they will just ask you about the technical knowledge and you can actually just go into that. I am not sure if similar things are happening in India, right? So one thing that you cannot, as a fresher, you have to start somewhere. Like you cannot you cannot just gain product experience from your college, or like it is very hard. Maybe like you can get some internships, very good. If you don't, again, not everyone pretty would get the internship. Start as an analyst somewhere, like say business analyst or somewhere, and start building those skills and try to see if you can build those skills at that company, and then make a move after 1 or 2 years into basically product DS. Start building the product sense questions, product sense skills, and try to see if you can push if you can in your role, if you can learn if something else happening at the company, try to learn try to learn how they are doing it and try to contribute there as well, so that you have something on your resume. And then you want to move into a pure product DS role, it would be very helpful to get the interview. And then once you get the interview, mostly what they ask is your technical skills. They don't, if you are not very senior folk, they won't focus on your past experience.
Okay, got it. So do they ask DSA also for product?
No.
Okay, got it.
They don't ask.
And my second question. Yeah, go ahead.
No, so I
my
just told
second
you
question
yeah. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So my second question is that what difference in your career Columbia Masters made for you went to US? And what would you be in India, and what do you see, like what would you be in India, and when you went to US, then what would change in your career? Like how does it make difference?
Yeah, so yeah, it has been a positive impact. So like I did not study data science and in my bachelor's, first of all. So whatever I learned on the job, and whatever like the one or two YouTube videos that I used to watch and learned Python, SQL, and all those things. But I went to Columbia because I knew I required a comprehensive set of machine learning understanding and statistics understanding to proceed in my career. So that was good. And so apart from academic skills, again, I worked. So after that, I worked in US. So when I gained those academic skills, I actually worked on data science problems in US in the industry. So that kind of helped me in developing that analytical thinking and how to solve a problem, how to solve a business problem using data science. So those kind of skills that I developed. So if I was in India, I may not have developed those skills. Whatever the skills I had, I was working here in India, I would have developed on those skills. So I would have not been a data scientist. I would have been something more of a manager kind of role in India. So that's the difference that Columbia Masters made.
So
I'm more aligned technically now than I would have been in India.
Okay, got it. So you didn't study data science, but
No,
if
I
someone is
was
studying
civil
data science in
engineering.
India,
Yeah.
okay, so someone is studying data science in India
Mhm.
as a bachelor degree, so and he want to do a master degree, so he should go for MBA from a top school from USA or masters to get a product role like product management.
So again, so it depends on MBA is basically for product management. So
Okay, got it.
if you want to go into product management, then MBA is good. If you want to go into product data science, then you should be more aligned toward MS in data science, MS in business analytics kind of course.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're anyways doing a course in US, and you should be align it with what you want to do.
Okay, so moving to next, Mustafa, you can unmute yourself and please ask your question.
So first, thanks for the excellent session and with a lot of practical tips. And thanks to the organizers for bringing Paranavasti for this. In the session, you mentioned that to enhance your skills, you used YouTube very extensively. So can you suggest a few YouTube channels, especially for Python for data science or experiment design, A/B testing or SQL? Because if when I try to do a search, a lot of channels comes up, and often it has to be a trial and error to figure out which is best. So from this, if you can suggest, it will be really helpful.
Yeah, so I was trying, like I had a thought of including those channels. So I'll tell you what I use, but I am at different stage in my career, so might not be very helpful to you. So first of all, like I think you guys are good technically, so you will be able to distinguish between whoever is talking nonsense. So like don't go there, and so whatever you feels like is doing the best, whoever is talking about. So my first go-to thing is whoever is talking about a practical interview experience, you should listen to that. Okay, first you should know about what is the practically asked in the interview. When you know about what is practically asked in the interview, then you can actually barge into, like, if I need to gain more technical skills, or like I need to study A/B testing, I need to study statistics, and then you can go into like other channels and study statistics and all. So, and you can use your YouTube channel, like IIT Madras YouTube channels as well, but there may be some more interactive and more practical things as well available on YouTube. So yeah, so I use the Data Interview Pro, that is my channel by Emma Ding. So I think maybe many of you may have already been heard of that. I can write it on the chat as well. Data Interview Pro.
Yes, sir.
So she has a very good I'm not here. Data Interview Pro, and one is Product School. I'm writing 3 channels that are good for. I am not able to send chat as well, I think. Okay, so the channels are Data Interview Pro, Product School, Exponent. They talk about good practical experiences that are for product DS. For learning Python, I think so. Like I have learned always Python bits and pieces. Focus on NumPy, Pandas, and basically learning how to NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, and basically learning how to make a machine learning model. So these would be the best thing to do. And I'm not sure on YouTube, but for practice, you can use the lead code kind of things for practice, and you can try to do past interview questions. For SQL, you can use, so what I use as Strata Scratch. So that is have a good set of questions from the past. So you can practice them. And there's one more school as well that has also have a good set of SQL questions. Okay. Thanks, Mustafa.
Okay. Yeah, okay, thank you. Thanks for the information.
So we can take last question from the chat section. He is trying to ask many times. So his question is, after my graduation from engineering, IIT BU, and BS degree from IIT Madras, I should go for management degree or not for having a better future in US market?
So again, yeah, it depends on what you want to do rather than having a good future. So if you do an MBA from a good school, you always have a good future in the US market. And if you do an MS from a good school, you always have a good future in the US market. So it's more aligned with what you want to do rather than having a good future in the US market, because US market can go up, down. They can have other kind of variances, and that variances will most likely equally impact a technical career or a management career. So I will focus on what I want to do. Okay.
So nobody has any other questions. So as we come to the end of this event, we want to extend our heartfelt gratitude to Paramavasti sir for taking the time to enlightening us about the data science and career perspective in this field. With that, we bring this event to a close. We hope you leave here today inspired and armed with knowledge about pursuing a career in data science. Thank you all for joining us and having a great day. Have a great day ahead. Thank you, sir. Thank you, audience.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for having me here. It was a very nice time. I hope you all goes into very successful careers, and I'm sure that you will. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you, sir. All, you can leave the station. Thank you for joining. Thank you, guys. Have a nice day.